Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICT's Edtech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Alright, good afternoon sa inyong lahat mga ka-ELS. So welcome sa panibagong session ng ating Senior High School Earth and Life Science. So you are still tuned in sa ating ETUlay online tutorial. We are now on our last week. We are now on week number 8. So basically, for this session, i-reviewin lang natin yung mga concepts na pinag-aralan natin for life science or biology. Alright, so I hope you're doing great. You're starting your week right. So samahan niyo po ako sa sunod na 40 minutes. We are live sa DepEd Educational Unit at saka sa DepEd TV official YouTube channel. Ayan. So samahan niyo po hanggang 4:40 magkasama-sama tayo at patuloy tayong matuto. Alright? Ayan. So my name again is Teacher Tony or Tutor Tony at your service. And today, actually, nasa month na tayo ng July, no? So last month, Philippine Environment Month. So for July naman, we are actually observing 2021 National Disaster Resilience Month. So sana dalangin natin at hangad natin na patuloy na magkaisa, magkaroon ng disiplina mga Pilipino, lalo na ngayon, no, sa nasa pandemya tayo. At of course, we are prone sa different geological hazards tulad ng inaral natin nung last na quarter. So for this year's Disaster Resilience Month, ang ating tema ay tamang pamamahal at kahandaan, kaalaman at pagtutulungan sa sakuna at pandemya'y kalasag ng bayan. Alright? And of course, pag July, syempre, isa rin sa mga favorite kong sinaselebrate dati sa school. Yan. July is Philippine Nutrition Month. So we are now in our 47th year of celebrating Nutrition Month in the Philippines. At ang tema natin for this year ay malnutrisyon, patuloy na labanan. First 1,000 days tutukan. Hashtag laking 1,000. Hashtag first 1,000 days. So very critical yan, di ba? Of course, mga young natin, mga breastfeeding mothers natin, as well as yung pinanganak nila, bagong silang nilang mga sanggol, di ba? So kailangan tutukan yung first 1,000 days para lumaki at lumaking malusog, matalino yung mga batang yan. In the future, of course, magiging asset ng ating bansa. Okay, so for the last time, that meeting Region 4A Calabarzon for providing us the modules that we are using sa ETUlay. So yung mga PowerPoint presentations natin, no, sa mga fellow teachers ko, sa mga kapwa ko guro, you can download the copies of our ETUlay PowerPoint presentations. Available po yan sa ating DepEd Commons. So once again, maraming salamat po sa Region 4A for providing us the modules that we are using, specifically sa ating subject na ito, Senior High School Earth and Life Science. So of course, I think everyone's ready. Tulad ng aking requirements in the past session. So ready na mga papel, ballpen, any writing material that you have, or kung meron pa kayo dyan, hindi pa napapasa inyong mga modules or yung mga learning activity sheets, ihanda na rin yan. And of course, ang presence ng mind at saka presence ng heart. At sana samahan nyo ako, makipag-interact kayo sa akin sa ating session. So pwede kayong mag-iwan ng inyong komento sa ating comment section. Just make sure to indicate the name of your school. O kung nahihiya kayo, of course, please include the name of your location. Nasaan ba kayo? Nasa Luzon ba kayo? Visayas, Mindanao, or here in Metro Manila. Okay? So I hope you're doing great, you're fine. Dito sa Metro Manila, sa Caloocan, medyo makulimlim. So laging ganun, no? Init, lamig. Kasi nga nasa transition na tayo ng panahon ng tag-ulan. So I hope everyone's safe. So for our last session for this week, ayan. So these are our objectives. First, we have to recall important concepts on life science. And of course, mamaya tulungan ko pa rin kayo syempre, no? You should answer review items correctly. Okay. Kung mahiya, you can comment down sa ating mga review questions. Please do so. Time for us to review now. Okay. So ito yung mga inaral natin in the past 7 weeks sa biology. First is the evolving concept of life based on emerging pieces of evidence. We also studied about the unifying themes in biology. Mamaya, babalikan natin yung 10 na yan. And then, perpetuation of life or reproduction, di ba? Genetic engineering, inaral natin yung mga techniques at saka yung mga benefits ng genetic engineering. We also discussed about the different organ systems, kung paano nag-work together, nag-work hand in hand yung mga body systems natin para ma-attain yung full potential ng ating isang living system para siya ay makapag-survive. And speaking of survival, ayan, we also discussed about the process of evolution. And finally, last week, fresh na fresh, interaction and interdependence. All right? So I think inaral natin binalikan natin yung different concepts about the primitive Earth. So the primitive Earth looks like this. Ganyan. So hindi pa siya stable. Sobrang chaotic pa. Kumbaga, chaotic pa talaga yung itsura niya. So putok lang ng putok or pag-erupt lang ng erupt yung mga volcanoes. The atmosphere is still toxic. Ibig sabihin, nakakalason pa yung mga components niya and all. So as time goes by, naging stable na siya. Then eventually, ito yung mga concepts na inanal natin when in relation with the stability of our planet. First, the first form of life is believed to have appeared some 3.5 billion years ago. So ganun po. The first forms of life are, of course, the bacteria found on microfossils. We also learned that eukaryotic cells evolved from prokaryotic cells. Tama. So next is multicellular organisms evolved from eukaryotic cells through cell specialization. And of course, we also learn about the evolution. The evolution of life is brought about by the changes in the environment, which are linked to changes in climate and geology. On the figure or in the presentation, di ba, kita niyo paano nag-evolve, di ba? Naging stable yung Earth. Yan, formation ng moon, pinakita din dyan. And of course, because of the presence of atmospheric oxygen, kasi nga nag-flourish na yung mga earliest form ng bacteria na nakakapag-photosynthesize. Ayan, so naging stable ng ating amount ng oxygen. Ayan, and that brought us to the development or the evolution of different life forms, from simplest to the most complex. Ayan, so here's question number 1 about evolving concept of life. Ayan, so oxygen was scarce during the early development of Earth. But so take a look at the anaerobic Of course, tinuro sa inyo ni Tutor Tony, di ba? So mga senior high school learners, dapat alam niyo na yung pangmalakasan technique kapag gantong type of question yung mga sinasagutan natin sa school or online. Of course, maling-mali yung mammal dyan kasi primitive earth pa nga lang. And of course, protist, no din. So it's between aerobic and anaerobic. So you going back to the question, no, oxygen was scarce. So kulang pa ng oxygen or very little pa ng amount ng oxygen. So what kind of organism first existed? Of course, the answer is letter B, anaerobic organism. So ito yung mga organism na kahit walang oxygen ay kayang mabuhay. Okay? Ayan, so if you would recall, we also discussed the different types of fossils. So shown in the presentation are some of the major types like petrified fossils, molds and casts. We also have fossils called carbon films. We have trace fossils, ayan, isang trace fossil ng dinosaur. And of course, mga preserved na remains ng mga plants or animals or insects na na-preserve sa particular structure. Okay? So these are the types of fossils that we have. Next, number 2. Which of the following is not true about the evidence that fossils provide? Wait lang. May nagko-call sa cellphone ko. Again, which of the following is not true about the evidence that fossils provide? So, we have learned that fossils are the clues to the past. Kumbaga, sila nagbigay ng clue kung paano natin natahi or na-figure out yung history ng Earth as well as kung ano yung mga life forms na nabuhay during the past billions of years. So, according to the question, which one is not true about fossils? A, all fossils gathered contain intact DNA that can be sequenced. So ba yan? B, fossil ages can often be determined by testing nearby rocks. If you would recall, di ba? So fossils are very much related sa pag-aaral ng mga geologists when it comes to relative dating. Letter C, fossil organisms often share physical similarities with living organisms. And letter D, bibigyan ko ng kulo eh. Letter D, some fossil organisms are transitional forms between groups of organisms. So going back to the question, napakadali lang actually. Okay? The best answer, of course, is letter. Sana may mag-comment, no? Hintayin natin yung comments. So kayo mahiyang mag-comment na inyong guess or na inyong pinaka-the best answer. For number 2, we have letter A. So we're still on number 2 pa lang naman items. So don't be shy. We still have a lot of items. So correct, so po lahat ng klase ng fossils ay may na-preserve na DNA. Okay? So going back sa mga types natin ng fossils kanina, no? So depende lang kasi sa environment, klase ng environment or klase ng materials na pwedeng mag-interact dun sa particular fossil kung mape-preserve yung DNA. And ang DNA, sobrang sobrang delicate niyan. Okay? Yan, so the answer for number 2 is letter A. Hindi lahat ay may DNA sequence na makikita doon sa fossils na yun. Alright, so speaking of fossils, if you would remember, di ba, I introduced to you these rock formations found in Australia, sa Bahamas. Ayan. So can you still recall what are these structures called? So these are called stromatolites. Ayan. So the real significance of stromatolites is that they are the earliest, kasi sa mga stromatolites na to, sa mga or naka-attach mga cyanobacteria na nagsimulang mag-perform ng photosynthesis. Okay, so early cyanobacteria and stromatolites are thought to be largely responsive or sa atmosphere ng primitive Earth. The Earth gradually changed. Okay, so those are the structures called stromatolites. And our question number 3 is related to that. And it says here, the study of history of life is indeed significant. As part of searching for the fossils of previous organisms, stromatolites played a significant role. What is true about stromatolites? Ayan, so which one is true? A, found on eukaryotes. B, produced by endosymbiosis. So may endosymbiosis bang relationship between the stromatolite and the cyanobacteria? Or C, it consists of layered bacteria and sediment. Or D, it is formed during volcanic eruptions. Ayan, sige nga, isip-isip. It's the best answer. So process of elimination, di ba? So A, erase na yan. D, erase na rin yan. Okay, so between B and C, the best answer, of course, is letter C. It consists of layered bacteria and, of course, sediment. Sediment, kasi it's a kind of sedimentary rock. Ayan. We are now on the second review point, the unifying themes of life. We have learned that biology or life science involves different disciplines o mga areas. And these areas are connected to one another through which the biologists term as the unifying themes. Ito yung unify, unity, from the word unity, di ba? These are the themes or the characteristics that unites all living organisms together. So we have, ilan ba? 10. Yan, tulad sa sabi ko yan, 10. We have 10 unifying themes. First, biological system. Balikan lang natin, no? So cell, interaction with the environment, energy and life, form and function, reproduction, and recall lang natin kasi kailangan natin yung mga words na yan or mga phrases na yan for us to answer the next review questions. Ayan. Number 4. Ayan, on the right side of question number 4 is the tree of life. Pinapakita dito kung paano nag-evolve from the simple organisms, mga microorganisms, nag-evolve ang mas complex na mga living organisms. From invertebrates to vertebrates hanggang, of course, different forms of life like fungi and plants. Question number 4 says, all organisms alive today have descended from simple cellular creatures billions of years ago. Biologists were able to identify and preserve some of the characteristics of that earliest organisms using technology, of course. This is associated in what theme? Tingnan natin. Letter A, function and structure are interdependent. B, cell theory as a description of living systems. C, emergent properties arise from the organization of life. Or letter D, unity of living systems is explained by evolutionary conservation. That's the best answer. So going back sa statement natin, biologists were able to identify and preserve some of the characteristics of that earliest organisms. That will bring us to the best answer, which is letter D. Unity of living systems is explained by evolutionary unifying theme in each illustration. So yung 10, pipili tayo dun sa 10. Ulitin natin yung 10. Ayan. So, na-flash ko ulit sa screen ang 10. Ayan. Giving you time para at least may choices. Ayan. Sige, balikan natin ang question number 5. So what particular unifying theme is shown in each illustration for number 5? Ayan. Pakpak ng mga birds. Ating mga humans, we use our hands to grasp things to right. The best answer is, of course, ayan. So, form and function of living organisms. Number 6, nakakadali. So, you have the male and the female. The males produce sperm. Females are the ones producing egg. Because of fertilization, embryo and fetus will be formed. That is under reproduction and inheritance. Item number 7 and 8. Sige, tignan natin mabuti ang ating mga pictures. Okay. Number 7 is, ayan ha, don't forget to, you can still comment down your answer. Baka nahiya yung mga viewers natin dyan. Don't be shy. Ayan. So for number 7, of course, that is the process of evolution, one of the unifying themes. Number 8, ayan. So tignan nga natin, balikan natin. So the sun is a major source of energy on Earth. Of course, ginagamit ang sunlight at pag-proseso ng makagawa ng pagkain yung mga plants through photosynthesis, and some plants are being eaten by consumers like this deer. And this deer is being hunted by humans like us in the primitive ancient times, prehistoric times rather. Ayan. So there's a transfer of energy o bioenergetics, sabi nga sa mga ibang references. So the best answer for item number 8 is energy and life. Ayan, we'll proceed with the next review point, perpetuation of life or reproduction. So for this particular, on the next questions that we have, so mag-focus ng sex cells, ng sperm at saka ng egg. So for your choices on the next questions, we have A, binary fission, maghihiwalay. Next, budding, from the word bud. So magkakaroon ng outgrowth or bud yung isang parent organism. Tapos eventually mag-grow yung bud na yung hihiwalay. Fragmentation naman is an organism can be splitted or divided into fragments, and each of the fragment can grow into one new organism. So ganun kalupit ang asexual reproduction. Let's have item number 9. So piliin nyo lang A, B, or C. Number 9 says, the organism split into two separate organisms like in bacteria. A, B, or C? Okay, the best answer for number 9 is letter A, binary fission. Number 10, flatworms, or generally called the planarians, divides into two, leaving one piece headless and the other tailless. Each piece grows the missing body part. But for this particular diagram, nahati siya into three, di ba? So ganun kalupit, hindi lang dalawa, kaya pa ng tatlo. So from one, magiging 3 organisms, bagong organisms. Okay? So this one is called the process of letter C, fragmentation. Number 11, the new individual grows on the body of its parent, like this one, shown here in the diagram. We have the hydra, the parent is here, almost completely grown up na, pwede na yung mag-detach anytime kapag full grown na siya. Diba? So it's also observed sa mga yeast. Diba? And of course, that process is called letter B, budding. So again, binary fission, budding, and fragmentation. Some of the asexual reproduction methods that we have discussed in the past sessions. We also discussed about, if you recall, napakadali na ito actually, oviparous and viviparous. From the word ova or egg, oviparous. These are the egg-laying animals, the birds, the reptiles, the insects, of course. For viviparous, we have the organisms that give birth to their young that is born alive. Ayan. So viviparous sila, so mga mammals, viviparous animals, and of course, humans. And question number 12, giraffe and lion are examples of blank animals. The process of elimination once again. Okay? So, syempre, wala dyan yung letter C at saka letter D. Right? Nag-stop ba tayo? Let's check. Hindi na nag-run ang aking sa live. Nag-stop tayo ata. Wait. Let's check. Working naman ako. Director, kindly check po yung presentation ko. Hindi po gumagalaw or sa backstage, okay naman. Okay. Let's flash it one more time. And giraffe and lion are examples of animals or of dank animals. The best answer is B, of course, viviparous animals. Ayan, okay na tayo sa live. Okay, medyo nag-hang lang ng konti. Okay. Going back. Yeah, letter B. Of course, we also discussed about the different techniques in genetic and use in genetic engineering, and of course the benefits. But for this particular review questions, we'll be only focusing on three techniques. We have selective breeding, cloning, and hybridization. Ayan. So 13, 14, and 15. So question number 13 says, creating an organism that is an exact genetic copy of another. They will have the same exact DNA as the parent, just like the first picture shown here. If you recall, that is the first clone animal, si Dolly, the sheep. Eh, yun. Nagbigay na ako ng clue. The correct answer for number 13 is cloning. Of course, it's used for several purposes. No? So, ginagamit yan sa, of course, sa medicine. Di ba? We have already cloned several animals, if you would recall, like pigs, monkeys, and even dogs and cats are being cloned. Question number 14, item number 14. When animals with desired characteristics are mated to produce offspring with those desired traits. Ayan. So, kung napanood nyo na yung isang commercial sa television, di ba? Yung may dachshund doon na naguhukay. Dachshund or once bred to hunt badgers and other burrowing animals. Ayan, yung dachshund, species ng dachshunds natin. Ayan, so ang technique na yun na ginamit ng mga early people is selective breeding. Okay, item number 15. Luther Burbank created a disease-resistant potato called the Burbank potato. He crossed a disease-resistant plant with one that had a large food-producing capacity. Ayan, so in this technique, nagkaroon ng famine, di ba? Yung naapektuhan yung mga plants, mga agricultural crops, specifically the potatoes. May ginawang technique si Luther Burbank. Pinag-cross niya yung hybrid ng isang disease-resistant plant at saka yung potato na kaya mag-produce ng marami or pangmalakihan, pangmalakasang crops or yung pinaka-produce niya. And that technique or genetic engineering technique is called, of course, hybrid. So we are producing hybrids. Ayan. So I hope okay na ating stream. Okay. So those are some of the genetic engineering techniques. And of course, speaking of techniques, ayan. So dahil sa mga genetic engineering techniques, ayan, nakakagawa tayo ng mga vaccines. And of course, I just want to promote the program of the Department of Education. Isa sa mga project programs called the Back to School, ligtas na bakuna para sa balik eskwela. So alam niyo tamang impormasyon at magpapakuna na. So huwag na matakot. And ayan, actually, last July 1st, ayan, so kasama ko yung misis ko, nagpapakuna na kami. Ayan, so bisitahin lamang ang deped.gov.ph/back to school at makipag-ugnayan sa inyong mga local government units. Ayan. So actually, mga Facebook pages ng mga mayors natin, doon yung makikita yung schedule ng pagpapakuna or vaccination schedules natin. Ayan, speaking of vaccination, question number 16. Which among the choices below is genes and pharmaceuticals? Cloning, gene splicing, recombinant DNA technology, or selective breeding? The best answer, of course, is, ayan, no, may vector, di ba? Letter C, recombinant DNA technology. Ayan, balikan natin yung proseso na yan. So, recombinant DNA technology comprises altering genetic material outside an organism to obtain enhanced and desired characteristics in living organisms or as their products. This technology involves the insertion of DNA fragments from a variety of sources having a desirable gene sequenced via appropriate vectors. So, ganun, kaya manipulate yung genes, i-transfer yung desirable trait, particular DNA segment or yung pinaka-gene, insert sa panibagong organism which will bear that particular desirable trait. So that is what we call the genetic engineering technique called the recombinant DNA technology. Yan. Okay. We also learned about the different body systems, di ba? So if you would recall, we have National Geographic. So we have the skeletal system, the muscular system, the cardiovascular system, and the nervous system as the infrastructure system. So if you recall, we have learned that our body is like a machine that has different body systems and works very harmoniously to each other. So they work hand in hand para makasurvive living organisms tulad nating mga tao. So again, infrastructure system, kasama dyan si skeletal, which provides the framework, muscular, which provides heat and movement, the cardiovascular system, which is composed of the heart, which pumps the blood, and of course, the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries or the blood vessels. System or the command center of our body, because it contains, of course, it comprises the major organ, one of the major organs of our body, the brain, which controls everything. So the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves comprise the nervous system. Next is we have the lymphatic and the urinary system. Endocrine systems, sila yung mga endocrine glands that produces hormones that regulates different bodily function that affects, for example, yung growth natin, di ba? Metabolism. Lymphatic system is the extension of our immune system. It fights pathogens, bacteria, and viruses. Urinary system naman is, of course, the major organ for that is, of course, our kidneys and the left and right kidneys, which filters the blood. So para ma-filter yung mga toxic compounds na napoproduce ng ating katawan at mailabas sa ating sistema. Those are regulation systems. And of course, we also have the reproductive systems that aids or facilitates the process of reproduction in humans. We also have the energy systems, the respiratory and digestive systems. The respiratory system is responsible for getting the necessary oxygen gas para magamit ng mga cells natin. Very important ang oxygen dahil nagamit yan ng ating digestive system para ma-fully utilize ang glucose or yung energy na nakukuha natin sa pagkain. So without oxygen, the process of digestion will not be functional. So those are the energy systems, the respiratory and the digestive systems. All right. Let us now have this 9-item question. Questions much the body system with its corresponding function or functions. On the first column are the names of the body systems. On the second column are the functions. Ayan, it's a skeletal system kaya. What is the function of the skeletal system? That is your letter G, the framework of the body. Next, the muscular system is letter F, movement, responsible for the movement and contraction of the muscles. Nervous system is letter E. And letter E is responsible for data or information processing, which is gathered by the peripheral nervous system. Wait lang. Okay lang, I'm checking the signal. Hindi kasi gumagalaw. Ayan. Let's try it one more time. Okay, just skeletal. Moving naman tayo. Okay, for respiratory system, we are now on respiratory system. Wait. For a while again. Ano nangyayari?
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa English. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!
Magandang araw! April Marcas po, ang inyong pretty ate sa Edtech Unit. Alam ba ninyo na may webinar o online training session ng Edtech Unit tuwing Sabado? Ang araw na ito ay nakalaan para sa ating mga mahal na kaguruan upang turuan sila ng mga bagong kaalaman at kakayahan sa paggamit ng makabagong software at applications para sa pinaka-epektibong paraan at lubos mapaghusay ang kanilang paraan ng pagtuturo. This is also a refresher session for our beloved teachers to enhance their skills in technology. Every Saturday, we will conduct webinar sessions for teachers about the use, advantages, and relevance of different blended learning software applications. Ang webinar seryeng ito ay magsisimula ng alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali para sa morning session. Magsisimula naman ng 1:00 at magtatapos ng alas 4 ng hapon ang afternoon session. You can watch us in our DepEd Edtech Unit Facebook page, Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd Philippines. Kita-kits tayo tuwing Sabado!
Alright, so we are now back on our Senior High School Earth and Life Science online tutorial section. So nagkaroon lang tayo ng technical difficulties, but we're back on track. So we're now actually answering the questions about the different body systems. So we are now done with skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, and respiratory system. So bago ang lahat, ngayon kasi pumasok, sorry ngayon na nakita yung mga nagko-comment sa ating live session. So batiin lang natin sila ng mabilis. Good afternoon kay Ritz, Melvin Hasmig. Ayan, so thank you for answering. Ayan, nag-interact ka pa kanina pa. So you're answering. Thank you so much. Pasensya na. Of course, may coach tutor data. Ayan, Arts 9, bukas yan. So tutukan si tutor data for Arts 9 tomorrow morning. Magandang hapon po mula sa SDO Manila. Ayan. Hello po sa inyo, Sir LV Bayon. Good afternoon. Antonia Calderon. Good afternoon as well. To my wife, from all the teachers from MBSisio Senior High School, SDO Caloocan. Shout out na rin natin ating mga co-teachers sa Novaliches High School, especially sa aking mga heads, si Dr. Joseph Aladan and Ma'am Elsa Pinla, and of course, our principal for Dr. Luis P. Tagayon. We also have Miss Lisa Pasame. Good afternoon to you as well. Ivy Marin, Elenita Achas Reyes, good PM watching from Calaisan Elementary School. Isa sa mga suki ng sessions natin from Kidapawan,
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV.
Ayan, so we're back. Sa end ko naman ang nawalan ng signal. Oh my goodness. So I hope na na-broadcast natin yung mga greetings natin kanina. Na-broadcast ba? Or nabasa ba natin yung mga broadcast? Or yung mga mga greetings natin, of course. Okay, wait lang po. Yan. Share lang natin ang ating screen for our presentation. Okay. Please. Ayan. So, yun. Going back to our responses earlier on. Ayan. So, medyo nabibitan na ating mga viewers, pasensya na po, no? So, iba na-excite. So, you can comment your answers pa rin, no? So, lagay nyo lang yung item number. Ayan. So, we are now on urinary system, number 7. Okay. The correct answer is letter B. Okay. Letter B, removes excess salt and water in the body. Number 8 is your immune system. The immune system is letter C, responsible for the formation. And number letter H. Ayan, so among the descriptions, the best answer would be letter H. Heart is the main organ for the system. Of course, ang ating puso ang nagpapump ng blood all throughout our body. So the blood contains the necessary, the very important nutrients. Let's proceed. Ayan. So one of the recent na discuss natin is about the process of evolution. And if you would recall, evolution is a theory in biology postulating that various types of plants, animals, and other living things on Earth have their origin in other pre-existing types. Yung mga tinatawag natin ng mga ancestors. And that the distinguishable differences are due to modifications in successive generations. So tulad nga sinasabi ni Sir Tony, evolution is very important. Kailangan yan para makapag-survive. Bakit? Kasi the living organism did not adapt, did not survive, or did not evolve on a particular trait na kailangan para mabuhay siya sa particular habitat, mamawala siya or mamamatay siya. And eventually, hindi niya matatransfer ang kanyang genetics or yung pinaka-genes niya to the next succeeding generations. And then the worst that may happen is the organism or the species may become extinct. Okay? So this is the process of evolution, but it's
Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, alternative learning system o ALS at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama! Libre ito. Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam!
Alright, ayan. So after a series of pagputol sa ating connections, I'm very sorry. Ayan. Sige, kaya natin itong ETUlay, guys. Or siguro mag-off cam na lang ako para at least hindi nagko-consume ng sobrang data. Magpakita na lang ako later on sa last part para at least tuloy-tuloy na tayo sa ating mga remaining PowerPoint presentation sa mga slides natin. Ayan. So doon tayo naputol sa process ng evolution. So evolution is a theory of biology postulating that the various types of plants, animals, and other living things on Earth have their origin in other pre-existing types, and that the distinguishable differences are due to modifications in successive generations. So, the process or the concept of adaptability is very important. Kailangan mag-adapt ng mga living organisms para at least makasurvive sa nature. And of course, that concept of evolution is different from the concept of evolution shown in cartoon or anime series like Pokemon or Pocket Monsters, kung saan na-attain ng isang monster or ng Pocket Monster ang certain level and then eventually mag-evolve siya. Nag-evolve in a sense na nagbabago yung form. Somehow, yes, related sa scientific concept ng evolution. Pero yung time kasi or yung tagal, yung proseso ng evolution, hindi mo naman totally makikita nag-evolve siya on that particular time. No? So it takes millions or thousands of years, but there are organisms like the microorganisms like yung mga COVID-19 viruses natin, di ba? So we have seen or witnessed sa mga news reports natin. So nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang variants, nagkakaroon ng mutations that is actually an example of evolution. And according to Charles Darwin, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. Kailangan yung skill natin, di ba, mga senior high school learners, kung tulad ngayon, nagkakaroon tayo ng problema, huwag tayo mag-panic, relax lang. We should be adaptable to sa mga stress na tumupunta na binabato sa atin. And of course, sa mga pagbabago, of course, na nangyayari sa ating buhay. So we have to be adaptable para tayo ay mag-survive. Ayan. Our last set of questions, ayan. So babalikan natin yung mga scientists naman. So identify the scientists who contributed to the historical developments of evolutionary thoughts by arranging the letters inside the box. Ayan. So the jumbled letters will serve as your clue. Ayan. Items number 26 says, he believed that populations grow geometrically while resources slowly increase or not at all, leading to competition. That is none other than Malthus or si Thomas Malthus. Number 27, syempre kilala natin yan. He taught the idea of descent with modification. The father of evolution, we have Darwin or Charles Darwin. That is items 26 and 27. For item 28, 29, and 30, papakita ko na yung descriptions nila at ang kanilang mga nagpopogi ang picture. Yes. Item number 28 is the father of taxonomy. 29, he realized that the species evolved because fittest individuals, ayan, fittest individuals survived and reproduced, passing their advantageous characters. And finally, number 30, propose the theory of inheritance of acquired traits and theory of use and disuse. Okay, item number 28. Ayan, the father of taxonomy is Linnaeus. So sobrang natuwa siya sa mga scientific names, di ba? Sa binomial nomenclature, ginawa niya ring scientific name ang kanyang pangalan. So Linnaeus. But his real name is actually Carl von Linné. 29, the answer is Wallace. So he is Alfred Russel Wallace, ang kaibigan ni Charles Darwin. And number 30 is Lamarck or Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. He proposed the theory of inheritance of acquired traits and the theory of use and disuse. Ayan. I think we are done with the review. So pasensya na po sa mga technical difficulties. Ayan, papakita ko lang ang aking mag-on cam tayo ulit. Ayan, of course. Whew! Grabe ang final week natin mga ka-ELS. I hope din tayo maghang kasi last segment na to, no? So hashtag be inspired and hashtag be blessed. So iwan ko for this sem, ito yung quotation na nakita natin. Because we have talked about life in general, di ba? Mapa-living things, mapa-microorganism man yan, plants, animals, and of course, we should reflect as humans. Ang sabi ni Tatiana Maslany, she is a Canadian actress. She said, have fun. Ayan, have fun. Enjoy lang natin, no? Have fun, be yourself, enjoy life, and stay positive. Hindi sa COVID, sa buhay. Stay positive. So, senior high school learners, sa mga grade 12 natin nag-graduate after days or ilang days to come nag-graduate na, that you will be having your virtual graduation. Congratulations for a job well done. At sa ating mga grade 11 senior high school learners, konting push pa, disiplina, pag-aaral, hard work will pay off. So see you next semester. Ayan. So this has been your tutor for senior high school Earth and Life Science. Please do communicate with me and shout out lang natin ng mabilis ang ating mga nag-comment kanina. Baka magtampo. Naku, sorry po. Ayan. So kung mga hindi ko nabasa kanina. Ayan. So good afternoon and thank you for joining me on our last session for this school year. Ayan. Salvacion Padilla Rebanal. Sir Wax Benson, good afternoon po. Carmencita Tomas Makatangkay, thank you for answering. Says Nicole Ruiz, Rona Escobilla Moreno, watching from KES. We have a viewer from YouTube, Rachel Soriano and Sagar Sian Daniel. Hello po sa inyong dalawa. Ayan, Sir Joshua Pasion. Good afternoon. I am Joshua Pasion. Ayan, grade 7 pa lang pala siya. Grade 7 Einstein watching from Lalio National High School, SDO Cagayan, Region 2. Stay safe. Yes, stay safe po tayong lahat and enjoy watching. Thank you for answering. Thank you for communicating with me. As well as with Pierre Franco. Good afternoon. Umahabol ka pa. Pwede mong i-replay ang ating episode na ito and other past episodes sa ating DepEd Edtech Unit Facebook page at sa ating DepEd TV official YouTube channel. So you communicate with me. Here are my contact details, email, my Facebook, my Week8, and subscribe po sa Mr. Voice Educator PH. So marami pong salamat for joining me in the past weeks. Ayan, so I hope natap ko ang inyong mga mind and inyong mga heart with all of our lessons and values integration that we have. So once again, I am Tutor Tony. Stay safe and God bless po sa ating lahat. Bye!
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa English. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!